Lance Wentz, back for another occasion. As is protocol, I want to give a shout out to G the General and D the Young C.
I was born by the river.
What up, what up, what up? 37 Deep TV with your host Lance Wentz, back for another occasion. As is protocol, I want to give a shout out to G the General and D the Young CEO. As instructed by G the General, I want to announce that we're looking for R&B acts, R&B singers, young ladies, young men. Doesn't matter. What matters is talent. So I want you to call a number if in fact you have that talent, or if you know somebody who does, you know, advise them to call a number 347-374-2447. Get at me, leave a message. If no one answers, leave a message, and someone will return your call, because we're looking to get into some, there's some opportunities that have become available that we're looking to take advantage of in some ways. So if you're looking to take advantage of your talent, call that number. Young R&B singers, male or female. Rap dudes, be at you in a minute. Be at you in a minute. This opportunity was available for some R&B acts. Besides that, as I said, I'm your host, Lance Wentz, going into another one of these little sessions that I like to do on my favorite television show, 37 Deep TV. I received some phone calls last week. Again, I appreciate the praise, but I enjoy the criticism. You understand what I'm saying? Because that helps me to grow. But some of these criticisms, I mean, you know, there's actually some situations that could change my mind, but then some situations I feel are a little childish. Maybe you're watching the wrong television show. I got a phone call, what was it, last week, about, I must have said something about Fabulous that I think hurt someone's feelings. Well, I shouldn't say it like that, because what I don't want to be is antagonistic regarding this situation, because obviously this was a young man who took exception to the fact that I said that Fabulous is not a gangster. But this was the exact point that I was making when I said Fabulous is not a gangster. Because what I said was that oftentimes in certain communities that we grow up in, we're led to believe that being a gangster, being a G, is what's up. That's what's cool, so that's what dudes want to be. And when I made the statement that Fabulous was not a gangster, you have to understand who it is that's speaking. I was actually in some ways complimenting Fab, for lack of a better term. Not complimenting him to the effect of comparison to someone else, but basically just saying that there's nothing really cool about being a gangster, especially if you're not a gangster. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't get it twisted. I know there's some dudes out there whose bloodline, whose DNA calls for gangster behavior, because that's how they get down, that's who they are. But to be a man, look in the mirror and ask yourself if that's you, because some of these dudes, I don't believe that's them. And as I said, when Fabulous is not a gangster, Fabulous is a rapper. But first and foremost, understand this. I don't know too many gangsters who want to be known as gangsters. Most gangsters will try to convince you that they're everything else besides a gangster. So when a dude calls my phone and takes exception that I said a rapper is not a gangster, like I said, I think you're watching the wrong show, or you really not tuning in to what it is that's being said, because if you're trying to convince me that you a G, you need to figure out another way to go about that than calling my phone beefing. There's nothing gangster about that. That's real corny. But as I said, I don't want to be antagonistic. I want to reach out to dudes, because I want dudes to understand that there's other things to be in this world besides quote-unquote gangsters. Fabulous is a rapper. Fabulous is in a position that many people would love to be in. Fab is in a position that there are hundreds of thousands of dudes sitting in prison right now with the hope that one day they could possibly achieve that, or with the wish that they hadn't done what they did to put themselves in a position where they're not able to achieve that. So a dude who's in that position, if he's pretending to be a gangster, he's a clown. But beyond that, from what I understand of Fab, he's not even pretending to be that. There's some dudes around him that he grew up with, whatever the case may be. And I understand how dudes get it in. I understand all that, but I'm not a young boy. I'm not a kid. And in that regard, I've become comfortable with who I am and understanding that there's a certain amount of intelligence that allows me to lift myself beyond just a certain vernacular, a certain behavior that limits me from what I'm able to accomplish in this country, in this world. So again, I want to make it perfectly clear. It wasn't my intention to say anything negative about Fabulous. By saying Fab is not a gangster, I wasn't saying anything negative at all. Fab is in a position, as I said, where a lot of dudes who are gangsters, who have some gangster in them, would like to be in. And if you get in that position and you blow that trying to be a gangster, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. And to Fab, if you got dudes around you who don't understand this mentality and don't understand that it's time to elevate and not keep playing the silly games that get dudes, that takes dudes off their mission, that takes dudes away from productivity, you need to get away from them dudes, man. You need to get away from them dudes, because I'm sure there's some dudes around you, because I know every hood got enough dudes in it that's intelligent enough to understand when an opportunity presents itself, take full advantage of that opportunity. But, I don't know. Dudes feels like dudes be having something to hide. They don't want to be exposed for their weakness. So therefore, if you say something that may present the idea that they're not these things that they aspire to be, I guess they could be very sensitive about that. 37 Deep TV, let's go into a joint as is appropriate.